Hello friends, today we will study about differentiation. You may have read it in class 12th. But in mathematical economics, this differentiation mostly we analyze in the process of differentiation if we have particular change, कुछ भी change आता है. There is change in a variable. हम analyze करते हैं differentiation में if there is any change in variable. So in this we make a very small change in the independent variable. It is mathematical that belong to pure science. And normally to find out the exact reason we find out the process of differentiation. And as we know there is utility. We have heard about utility in economics. It is as per the new classical economist. This utility can be measured in terms of money. It means satisfaction. If we consume an ice cream, so the units of money we spend on consuming 1 unit of ice cream, we get that amount of satisfaction from consuming that ice cream is known as utility. It is the utility of a unit of a commodity for a person is equal to the amount of money he is willing to pay for it. And you in G1's in 1871, G1's in 1871 coined this term utility. He coined this term utility, and util means units. Util means this util term means units of utility. मीन्स यूटिलिटी को हम मेजर करते हैं यूटिल्स में. एंड देर आर and utility, as we know, this measurement of utility is very controversial. Some says it is quantitatively measured like height, weight, length, temperature, air pressure. Most especially our classical economists like Jeremy Bentham, Leon Walras, Karl Manger, and our new classical also Alfred Marshall. And most important thing, this utility is a cardinal approach. Cardinal approach. It can be measured in terms of units or its measure utils means it is measured in terms of money. And other we have moreover we have heard about cardinal approach, and one another approach is also known as ordinal approach. In this in cardinal we can measure the quantity, while in this we rank the units, that it is first rank or second rank. On amount of first we rank the amount. Let's come to the utility difference and differentiation. There are three stages of utility. First is utility is increasing. यूटिलिटी इंक्रीज हो रहा है. और सेकंड है यूटिलिटी इज़ मैक्सिमम, अपने मैक्सिमम पर है. एंड थर्ड इज़ यूटिलिटी इज़ फॉलिंग, गिर रही है. अब यूटिलिटी कब गिरती है? यूटिलिटी है क्या? फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल, हमने एक आइसक्रीम ख़रीदी और जब हमने आइसक्रीम को कंज्यूम किया तो उसको कंज्यूम करने से मीन्स आफ्टर कंज्यूमिंग वन आइसक्रीम वी गेट द सेटिस्फेक्शन, दैट इज़ यूटिलिटी. So now we like the ice cream and we pay the amount, so we get full satisfaction. Now we want to consume more ice cream. So we purchase one more ice cream and we consume it. So and we also like the second one. Now our satisfaction, our utility increasing. With one ice cream we get satisfaction. Now after this we consume second ice cream. We also like the second and the third ice cream. So after consuming third ice cream, our stomach is full. Now, if we consume the fourth one, our satisfaction will decrease because we are already full and we get bored of eating the same thing again and again. So our utility begins decreasing. And if we keep on consuming it, then we will start vomiting. If we consume more and more ice cream, so our utility will become zero, and at last it become negative. This is a negative and we start vomiting. So it has three stages. That's why utility, first it is increasing, second it is at maximum, and third it is falling. So this utility, and as we know in economics, consumer is a rational behavior, has a rational behavior, and we have to do anything else in which we get benefit. It means कंज्यूमर को कुछ भी करना है जिससे कि उसे फ़ायदा मिले. अगर उसे फ़ायदा नहीं मिलेगा तो वो नहीं करेगा. अब उसको आइसक्रीम कंज्यूम करने से उसको सेटिस्फेक्शन मिल रहा था, डेट्स वाई, एंड द अमाउंट ही वॉज पेइंग, ही वॉज सेटिस्फाइड दिस अमाउंट. So as he get the utility with it. Similarly, if a consumer get benefit from consuming a commodity, so he purchase it, otherwise not. So this is the rational behavior of our consumer economics, and the change in the behavior is a marginal concept is also important in this. Consumer change in consumption where the utility decreases. So as the utility decreases, consumption of the commodity also changes. Consumption of the commodity with the change in the utility, consumption change. So जैसे जैसे हमारा consumption change होगा, our utility also changes. There is change in utility also. U is for utility, C is for consumption. So in the process of differentiation, we analyze if we have particular change in a variable. If there is any change in variable, so we analyze this through the process of differentiation. We make a very small change in an independent variable. In this, we make very small change in independent variable. And in mathematics, that belong to the pure science, we find out the exact reason and the process of differentiation. So in economics, as we know, what is economics? It's a science. It's a science of human behaviors. Uh, it analyzes human behavior and the process of decision making in sorting out the things and to make use of the things which are scarce in a very efficient way. So especially the resources which are scarce, we allocate them in such an efficient manner that it benefit the consumer, the producer, and the society and social welfare as well. So uh, analyzes the human behavior and tries to solve the problems of decision making, and all the economic decisions are composed of two important activities. First, it is the efforts made to do a particular work, task, job or economic activity. And second is the benefits which we get from release from the effort. So here these two important activities are important, and first is the efforts we made to do a particular work or task or job, and second is the benefits which release from the effort. Here in the decision making authority, it is important for the decision making authority, it is important to do a study about the efforts with to do the task and resultant gain and benefit from the effort. So if the gain or the benefit from the effort uh, is more than the effort we spend, it will be beneficial for the decision making authority to carry out the task and vice versa. So if our gain is more than the effort, so it is beneficial for the decision making authority to carry out the task. In economics, such type of analysis where there is gain is more than the effort we make, or the benefit we receive, is more than the efforts or task or money we spend is more. So this type of analysis is known as marginal analysis. इस तरह के एनालिसिस को हम कहते हैं मार्जिनल एनालिसिस, मींस जो एनालाइज करता है कि ओवरऑल चेंज कितना आया है, ओवरऑल चेंज कितना चेंज आया हमारे एफर्ट में, इन परफॉर्मेंस, ओवरऑल चेंज इन अवर परफॉर्मेंस caused by a very small change, caused by a very small change in the value of the variable in question. So this decision making, for example, in a decision making authority, for example, for a consumer, before going to consume any commodity, it is important to analyze. फॉर अ डिसीजन मेकिंग अथॉरिटी के लिए ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है कि वो एनालाइज करे कि एक कमोडिटी को कंज्यूम करने से पहले कि कितना पैसा उसमें वो खर्च करेगा उस कमोडिटी को कंज्यूम करने के लिए. फॉर एग्जांपल कमोडिटी एक्स और जो यूटिलिटी उसको उससे मिल रही है अटेन बाय द कंज्यूमर बाय कंज्यूमिंग दिस कमोडिटी एक्स, अगर पर यूनिट ऑफ रुपी उस पर स्पेंड कर रहा है ऑन कमोडिटी एक्स इज़ नॉट गिविंग इक्वल सेटिस्फेक्शन, अगर वो उसको इक्वल सेटिस्फेक्शन नहीं दे रहा है, उस पर जो रुपीज़ वो स्पेंड कर रहा है और जो यूटिलिटी है अगर वो इक्वल सेटिस्फेक्शन उसको नहीं दे रहा है, तो कंज्यूमर विल डिसकंटिन्यू द यूज़ ऑफ द कमोडिटी. However, of commodity X, okay, this commodity, अगर इससे इक्वल सेटिस्फेक्शन नहीं मिल रहा है तो वो उसको खरीदेगा ही नहीं. और अगर कंज्यूमर इज गेटिंग मोर सेटिस्फेक्शन, इफ़ अ कंज्यूमर, अगर उसको जितना वो उस पर पैसे खर्च कर रहा है उससे ज़्यादा उसको यूटिलिटी मिल रही है, सो जो उस पर अमाउंट ऑफ रुपी यूनिट ऑफ रुपी वो उस पर स्पेंड कर रहा है ऑन कमोडिटी एक्स, if he getting more satisfaction, then the consumer will continue using commodity X. अगर उसको ज़्यादा सेटिस्फेक्शन मिल रहा है तो वो उसको यूज़ करता रहेगा. और ये मार्जिनल एनालिसिस जो है इकोनॉमिक्स में, इसको हम मार्जिनल एनालिसिस बोलते हैं इकोनॉमिक्स में. ये क्लोजली रिलेट करता है, दिस इज क्लोजली related to differentiation. differentiation. Differentiation, or we can say it as a differential calculus, differential or differential equation, or differential equations. Therefore, all such type of margin analysis of economics problem can be very precisely and exactly solved with the help of differential equation. So जितने भी हमारे इकोनॉमिक एनालिसिस में जो मार्जिन एनालिसिस है, जितना चेंज आया यूटिलिटी में, वो सब हम डिफरेंशियल इक्वेशन से ही सॉल्व करते हैं. अब फॉर एग्जांपल हमारा ये कर्व है यूटिलिटी का. सो दिस ऑन वाई एक्सिस वी हैव यूटिलिटी, on x axis we have consumption of commodity x and expenditure on it. So our total utility, it starts from 0. This is our total utility curve. Total utility is starts from 0 because if we didn't purchase the commodity, so we didn't spend any amount, so it is 0. And if we consume x1 commodity, and this is x2 commodity, and this is x3. This is consumption of commodity x, x1, x2 and xn keep on increasing. So the amount of commodity keep on increasing. This is at maximum. ये इससे कहीं ज़्यादा ऊंचा है. So after Q we see the consumer will not consume the commodity, because as we see in the graph, as the consumer consume x1, his utility keep on increasing, and if he consume x2, his utility also keep on increasing, and if he consume xn, his utility is at maximum. At Q it is at maximum. And after consuming the quantity, if he consume after xn, means anything he consume at this level or this level or this, so it will, if he consume at this point or this point, means if he purchase x more than xn there, so his utility will fall. It is falling. Here it is rising. It is at maximum. So in this curve we see that total utility is falling. So after Q, the consumer will discontinue the use of the quantity x, commodity x, and before Q it is beneficial for the consumer to consume more and more amount of utility. Before Q it is important for the consumer to consume more and more amount of. So before Q it is better. Now let's suppose that consumer is x at x1 x2. The total amount of that utility equal to x1 and x2 is s to q. Means if the consumer is at between x1 and xn, so the total amount of the commodity he consumed from s to q s to q. And suppose the consumer is increasing the consumption of the commodity from x1, and now let's see from if he increase the consumption of the commodity from x1 to x2, from there here to here, so total utility has changed from s to t, from this to this to this. In this whole process, the change in consumption, so there is change. This is consumption. So there is change in consumption of the quantity, and if he consume, if he increases consumption to x2, so his utility also increases. This here it is utility. So this is the change in total utility. This change in the total utility can be denoted by u. We can donate it by u. So change in consumption and change in utility is equal to TA. TA is our, so we can see change in utility is TA. Here it is T and it is A. So this, from this is our first. Earlier the utility was at A. Now after consuming x2, his utility reaches to T. So there is change in the utility and also consumption. Earlier the consumption was at S. After consumption of more unit, his consumption increases to T. So there is change in consumption from S to A. uh, Consumption, change in consumption to SA, and change in utility to TA. So we can say that utility is a function of consumption. Utility is a function of consumption. Change in utility because of change in consumption. यूटिलिटी में चेंज आया, क्यों आया? क्योंकि कंजम्पशन चेंज हुआ. सो इसीलिए हमने कहा कि यूटिलिटी इज अ फंक्शन ऑफ कंजम्पशन. यूटिलिटी इज अ फंक्शन ऑफ कंजम्पशन. सो चेंज इन यूटिलिटी बिकॉज ऑफ चेंज इन कंजम्पशन इज इक्वल टू टी ए अपॉन एस ए. यूटिलिटी में चेंज आया, क्यों आया? कंजम्पशन के चेंज होने से. तो वो होगा अगर चेंज इन यूटिलिटी हमारा इक्वल होगा चेंज इन कंजम्पशन के, जो कि एस ए, सॉरी, टी ए अपॉन एस ए. नाउ दिस चेंज इन यूटिलिटी एंड चेंज इन कंजम्पशन. यूटिलिटी में चेंज कैसे आया? क्योंकि कंजम्पशन में चेंज आया. देयर इज यूटिलिटी चेंजेस बिकॉज ऑफ चेंज इन कंजम्पशन. So as in the graph we say utility is equal to TA. Utility, this here it is T, so utility is TA and consumption changes to SA. So we donate this from TA and SA. It is a notation, not the fraction or the ratio. ये just notation है. It is just a notation, not fraction or not a ratio. It is notation. Change in total utility caused by change in consumption of the commodity X can be fractionally read or donated as change in U with respect to change in consumption. So here in the next session, this is the whole process we will study through differentiation. So in the next class we will taught you, means I will taught you about this differentiation. Thank you friends. Keep watching my channel and subscribe.